Hi everyone. Firstly, apologies that we're starting this 10 minutes late. We had a bit of a technical issue with the Zoom call, so thank you for holding on. We are expecting a few more to join us, but we will get started. This session has been recorded as well, so if anything's unclear, you will be sent the recording and can come back to it. But by way of introduction, my name's Lisa. I look after admissions for the School of Slavonic and East European Studies. I'm here with my colleague Katerina, who's also in the admissions team, and Dr. Peter Braga, who's the admissions tutor for the History, Politics and Economics degree, which is what we're going to be talking about in today's session. We're also joined by Sophie, who is one of our current student ambassadors, and will say a few words once Dr. Braga's given his presentation. We really want to be here to answer your questions, and we're also very lucky to be joined by Alice Dove, who is the Programme Administrator for HPE and knows everything there is to know about the programme. So do ask any questions either in the chat, or if you wish to put your camera and your mic on after we've finished the presentation, then please do. But I will hand over to Peter now and hope you find this useful. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and I'm going to give sort of an introduction to SSEES and where I work and where you will hopefully come and do the History, Politics, and Economics program. So without further ado, Katerina, could you pop to the next slide? So yes, starting who are we, who we are, right? So SSEES was founded in 1915 by Robert Seton Watson, right? And originally we were part of King's College London, right? But then eventually we have this long history of working with the British government, training spies, and then after when the end of the Soviet Union and stuff happens, we no longer our training spy money runs out, and then we have to switch to being more sort of academic. We were always academics focused as well, but yeah, so that's some of the exciting history of SSEES. But then we eventually get bought by University College London. And SSEES was originally, a part of its founding was the first president of Czechoslovakia, who was a philosopher. His name is Tomáš Masaryk. He also founded the school, so it's a really fascinating history. And as you can see right now, we have a ton of students and 100 staff. We have, I think, the largest library for Eastern European and Slavonic literature in Europe, I believe, on this side of the Atlantic. And yeah, and we are an area studies school, and that means we're interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary. And this is really kind of the strength of the HPE program, right? That you are going to get experts in history, politics, and economics from all different areas and all different within the SSEES region. And the SSEES region used to be, when we talk about the SSEES region, what we're focused in, our area specialty is whatever used to be the Russian Empire and then the Soviet Empire, right? So the area that we focus on, which along with your key training areas, right? The history, politics, and economics, we bring in the context of this region that used to be part of the Russian Empire and the Soviet Union, right? So Russia, Germany, Finland, Southern Europe, like the Balkans, just so it's this absolutely massive area. Ukraine, Belarus, Moldova, right? I've been invited this week, in fact, also to a conference on Uzbekistan. So we have this huge area. It's incredibly international. For example, I'm advising a dissertation on what is it again? Yeah, Soviet spies in Japan is something that I'm advising on at the moment. So just really fascinating region. And yep, so this is sort of kind of who we are. Lots of experts. Could you please do the next slide, Katrina? Okay, yes, so life at SSEES. So the HPE program is kind of the largest program of students at SSEES, and the SSEES building, right? So is located. It's an urban campus. Okay, so the pictures you're seeing here are partly of SSEES, right? The building that I'm talking from, and that where you will do probably the majority of your studies. But then there are also some images here of around the urban campus, right? So you're right in the heart of historic Bloomsbury, within sort of central London, and yeah, so we have our specialist building, which has won a bunch of awards for its design or whatever. The lift constantly breaks, but hey, that's fine. Otherwise than that, it's absolutely amazing building. And yeah, so you will be interacting with people from all around the UCL's urban campus here in Bloomsbury when you're doing your studies. Could you move to the next slide, please? Great. Okay, so this is an excellent question, and this is why we put it at the front of the presentation. So why? You know, who cares? Why should you study history, politics, and economics at SSEES? And frankly, I'm gonna cut to the chase here. The reason why you study HPE is because it is extremely flexible. And when you hit the job market, you're not just going to be the guy who's worked super hard to, you know, become a political analyst. You're not going to be just the guy who's done a bunch of history, who could maybe be an advisor for somebody or a consultant. You're not just somebody who's competing to work at, to work at a bank because you've specialized in one little facet of economics. No, you're going to have all of that. Okay, you will be able, your employability is sort of 3 times over expanded compared to the average student. Okay, so employability is one of the top reasons why getting a HPE degree is so good. Okay, and not only that, the way that we've designed the HPE program is that you get to focus on the key areas of history, politics, and economics. We give you training in all those areas, but you get to specialize in the area that you are most interested in. Okay, and yeah, we have an absolutely massive range of modules, right? Where you can get theoretical and practical training, right? We have, as it says here, lots of links with external organizations, right? And yes, you get to do a dissertation during your time in this program. What when I was talking about the students that I advise, right? Um, uh, the 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 dissertation is this 10,000 word project where you get to sort of use your history, politics, and economics training to come up with a research project. And yeah, a ton of transferable skills, right? And again, we just had a meeting about this yesterday, in fact, talking about how uh, all the different languages that you can also study here at SSEES, right? One of the legacy of training spies back in the day is that we have these very intensive, very, very good language programs, sort of the best, right? We have embassies who pay us money to teach these languages because we're so damn good at them, right? So we have this huge list of languages, right? Russian, Ukrainian, Romanian, Hungarian, Albanian, with top specialists in these areas to train you. So imagine when you go to look out for your when you do your job interview, and you let them know that you also are proficient in conversational check, right? On top of all the other skills you have. It's just, fantastic. Okay, and there's an optional year abroad that we have been developing. Alice, how could you comment, how far along are we with the year abroad program? Would people attending if they start next year, will that be an option for them?
Yes, so students joining us next year will get the year abroad in their second year if they choose to. We have our first cohort going on their year abroad next year as well. Our currently,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's happening.
Yes, and having piloted in the deep dark past, I was one of the first students who did a year abroad program within not at UCL or SSEES, but with a similar university, similar program. And I went to some of the universities that are on the year abroad list offered by SSEES, and it is absolutely incredible, excellent opportunity if you can get to do it. But anyways, please, next slide. Okay, yes. So when you do the HPE program, the way that we have set this up is that in your first year, you're going to have 90 credits of required modules that you have to study. And then you're going to have 30 credits where you get to choose what else you want to do, right? Do you want to take an additional language? Do you want to, I don't know, study, one of the specialist, more specialized modules that relate to history, politics, or economics or something? Or do you want to see if there's that's this extra flexible 30 credits. Okay, but so let me just describe some of the compulsory modules. Okay, so all students who do the HPE program have to do the foundational H, P, and E. These are the key, the compulsory modules. So you have a 1-year, 30-credit course called Frontiers of History, which is an intensive sort of program preparing you to study history at an academic level. Then we also have, and in my area as a political scientist, we have the how politics works sort of pair. Sorry, we have the how politics works, that's mine, and then understanding society, right? Now, the understanding society one is this mixture of political theory and sociology. The understanding how politics works is basically an introduction to comparative politics module, right? So that gives you the tools to study politics at the theoretical level, right? The understanding society module, right? The theory. And then we also do practice, right, which is the understanding politics part. And then you also get introduction to macroeconomics and microeconomics, right? And all of these modules, by the way, the frontiers of history, the understanding politics and understanding societies modules, and the economics modules. The way that we're designing them this year to run is that you will have a module leader, but you also will they're joint taught. So there will be multiple professors on these programs so that you get to meet, for example, the world leading analyst, at least for the politics one, for example, on political parties, the world leading expert on democracy, the world, and then for example, the frontiers of history, we have a world leading guy on the history of energy, right? Volodymyr Kulikov, right? And then same with microeconomics. We have these outstanding professors who you will also meet, right? So it's kind of like the way that we structure it in your first year is we give you the foundational stuff, and then you get to meet a lot of the people that you will perhaps be doing your higher level studies with as well. Okay. And Alice, would you be able to sort of reinforce, because I want to be articulate with this, the optional 30 credit modules, how flexible can students be with that? Could you comment on that, please?
Very flexible is
Yeah.
the answer. We have a lot of level 4 modules that students can take. You can also take modules outside of SEES as well. So, for example, if you're interested in the economics track, we suggest that you take a module with the statistics department, and that sets you up for year 2 and year 3 if you would like to do an economics dissertation. Year 1, the 30 credits of optional modules is incredibly flexible, and it really is your chance to kind of branch out a little bit and see which parts of the HP and E you might want to specialize in year 2 and year 3.
Yeah. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. So, and then in years 2 and 3, right, after you've done your foundational, I'll start with 2 and then obviously moving on to 3. After you've had your foundational HP&E and you've branched out, or you've explored or whatever your additional 30 credits, right? We then ask you to specialize into 2 tracks of the H, the P, or the E that you are most interested in year 2, for example, right? So for example, lots of students will choose history and politics, for example, right? Because they're finding that they like the politics part, and they're less interested in doing tons of numbers stuff, right? Or often we get students who are extremely interested in doing, sort of political economy types things, so they focus on the P and the E, right? And then sometimes you get people like the guy who I mentioned, Volodymyr Kulikov, right? You're going to do an H and an E, a historian of economics, like this part, because that gels really, really well as well. So you specialize into, or you get to choose two tracks or 2 parts of the HP&E that you want to build more specialist training in. Okay, and based on the choice of the 2 things you want to focus on, there will be compulsory modules that you have to take, right? And shall we go into detail here, Alice, about the all students must take one of either the history of economics ideas or history of European political ideas?
I don't think we need to go into too much detail. Those are
Okay.
the 2 core modules for HP in year 2. You must choose one, they're 30 credit.
Right.
As in
And
economics,
yeah.
choose 24, and politics tend to choose 27. Yeah.
And P.S. guys, if you attend this coming year, so number 1, the lecturer for for economic history and ideas, Tomasz Twerczek, he is an absolutely exquisite lecturer. It is a pleasure to be lectured by that man. Yeah, it's outstanding. Okay, and then not only that, the history of European political ideas. We have an outstanding lecturer, Philip Barker, who's taking that on next year. So honestly, I would be really hard pressed. I wouldn't know which one I'd want to do because they're so good. So you guys are spoiled next year. Okay. Sorry. In year 2, you guys are spoiled because those 2 programs are excellent. Okay. And then in year 3, you focus in on one. I think this is correct, Alice. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but you focus in on one of the 2 tracks that you selected in year 2, right? So in year 2, you're like, I like politics and economics or something, right? And then in year 3, you're like, yeah, I really understand economics. This is really useful for me, but it really gets me going is the politics side, right? Being political analyst, this kind of thing like this, right? And then so you put more of your focus on that one track, okay? We also require in your third year to demonstrate capability in the H, P, and E. So we offer this, what's called in academia, a keystone course, which basically brings us all the members in the HP program, right, that you started with in your first year back into a single class. And you demonstrate, we teach you, but you also demonstrate your ability to perform high level sort of academic learning and study and research at for the H, P, and E, right? And but then also the rest, and that's a 30 credit bearing module, but then the rest of your credits will be your dissertation that you're focusing on and the area that you're focusing in on out of the H, the P, and the E, right? Yeah, and so that's pretty much a very quick description of a ton of fascinating stuff that you can do here. Yeah. Next slide, please. And please, I hope you're writing down questions for me as we do this, right? Right, yes, year abroad destinations, right? So Charles University, Prague, you know, one of the jewels of Europe, Prague. And so if you choose to do the year abroad, you get to go to this ancient and incredibly beautiful and fascinating city and study at one of the leading universities in the world. Same in Estonia, University of Tartu, right? And then University of Helsinki, Finland, another fantastic capital city, excellent university, outstanding facilities. And then oh, this is a new one, so I can't comment. I haven't been there. I assume it's good. It's in Germany. This is a new one on our list. And then Corvinus University in Budapest. In fact, we have some people who are teaching here at SSEES who used to work there. Outstanding university. University of Warsaw, which I've attended lectures at. But also Jagiellonian University. That's where I did my year abroad many years ago. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm going there this summer. And then finally, we have a university also, Babes Bolyai. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, in Romania as well. So this excellent selection of year abroad that you can also do. And to make this clear, what this would be is you do your first year, your second year, then your year abroad, and then you return back to SSEES in a fourth year, where you would complete your quote unquote your third year, but it would be a fourth year for you, where you would do your dissertation. And so when you do your year abroad, PS, it's a really great time, not only to network, to learn, to improve a language that you might be studying, all sorts of things, right? To potentially maybe if you're thinking of specializing in a job in this part of the area of the world, to get to know people there, to, you know, this kind of thing. Not on top of that, you can think about a dissertation that relates to this region. And so when you're in the region, you can start, well, how might I do this research around my dissertation? So there's lots of benefits to doing a year abroad. But yeah, so any comments about the year abroad from Alice or Lisa or anyone? No? All good? Excellent. So next slide, please. Okay, yes. So thankfully, and unless I have this wrong, we do have some statistics on this. And yes, our graduates are in demand. They do get work. And in fact, at the beginning of the year, it's not PricewaterhouseCoopers, JP Morgan Chase. We have, for example, we met with one of our former students. who is now this sort of high-flying banker at JP Morgan or whatever, right? So people who do our program, like I said at the start, it's like you have just this extra opportunity, this extra level of employability, right? And on top of this, because we know that, you know, this is the thing that sort of really matters to most people when they're, you know, concerned about making a big investment into their education, right? Is that we trying to reinforce this, right? We have career support days here where we, in fact, I think we have a particular member of academic staff and also administrative staff, and their one job, or not their one job, one of their key parts of their job is to running career evenings and making sure that you're aware of internships and this kind of things and job offers and stuff that are sort of relevant for students who are graduating from our program, right? Oh yes, and yeah, okay, so yeah, the numbers are literally on the slide, right? So 60% of graduates working for an employer post UCL, right? 3.7% are entrepreneurs, and then 23% continue on in further study. Yeah, that sounds, honestly, that sounds right from what I've seen. And yeah, and so again, PS, when we talk about further study, UCL is often on top 10 lists in sort of all areas related to the best universities in the world. Okay, so when you come out with a degree from UCL SSEES, you are competing among the elite universities. Okay, there is this kind of interesting thing at universities that we're saying, oh, we're inclusivity, which is kind of bizarre because we are elite institutions, right? And so we are training you at a specialist level to be at an elite institution, which then will open doors to other top elite institutions. So along some, but also we're supposed to be inclusive with all of this. But anyway, so that's this aside though, you know, you go on to you know, one of my students from the HPE program has gotten recently a full ride scholarship to Sciences Po. That's not my doing. This is, you know, the student who worked incredibly hard in our really excellent program and managed to do that. So, but yeah, you will, a lot of these people who complete degrees with at UCL SSEES, and if they continue on in their studies, they're continuing to top level institutions. Yeah. Cheers. Next slide, please. Thank you. Yeah, okay, so, right, so, and then we have comment job titles for analysts. Now, guys, PS, I am an academic. So when I'm going to be listing through all these slides, I can't tell you exactly what it's like to be a risk analyst and you know, but to go through all these, this is kind of showing you the range of things that you can do with an HP degree, right? Yeah, cybersecurity professionals, financial accountant managers, risk analysts, teaching professional, right? Because we've given you all this training, journalists, reporters, public relations, right? You know, because you're literally studying some of the most sort of hotspot and dynamic regions in the world right now, and you're getting, you know, you're learning all this deep detail on this. You know, accountants, you know, so just this huge range of common jobs. It's actually, you know, revisiting this list, it's like it's kind of surprising because I'm used to talking to a lot of political science students, it's a much tighter range of common jobs after this. But with the HPE program, you have this massive list. Yeah. Okay, and then we have these sort of example employers too. Please, next slide. Okay. All right. So thank you so much, guys. And I know I zipped through these slides pretty quickly. If you would like me to revisit some of the slides, expand further on anything that I've sort of mentioned quite quickly, I have a tendency to ramble a bit. So if you want me to revisit and expand and add more detail, please ask away. This is what we're here for today. So yeah, so please, questions.
Thanks very much, Peter. Whilst everyone is hopefully furiously typing away, if I could just ask Sophie, our student ambassador, to just say a few words about your experience on the programme so far, perhaps a little bit about any tips that you might have for new students and what you're planning to do next year, because am I right that you're first year? Sophie?
Yes, I'm a first year. So, hi, my name is Sophie, and I'm studying history, politics, and economics. Next year, I will be concentrating on history and economics side, and I was thinking of writing my dissertation on history in the third year. I've been absolutely loving my experience at UCL and in SSEES. The main reason why I have decided to pick HP is because I loved all of the subjects so much and I didn't know which one I want to specialize in. So I wanted to delve into all of them on a university level, so I can specialize and understand what I want to do in the future. And I think having that privilege in university to explore different areas with incredible professionals and discuss it is just amazing. So I've been loving my experience at UCL, in London, in SSEES. SSEES is amazing with events, meeting new people, networking. So I think that even if you are unsure what you want to do in the future, HPE gives you some kind of ground in exploring all of the fields and understanding what you want to do. It has been very helpful for me because I took a gap year and before I applied to law, and I understood that I just want to explore before setting with one of them. It's my first year living in London as well, so if you have any questions about that, I would be more than happy to answer. And yes, I will be specializing in history and economics. So if you have any questions about module selections, I will be very happy to answer that as well.